Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. And in this video, I want to share with you why throwing away dried beans, even after the expiration date, or because people tell you you're crazy if you eat it, is really a waste of money and helping to reduce your stockpile, as well as you're missing out on food that could have and should have been eaten. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this, as well as my other videos on faith, health, and beauty all year round. Now, I suspected that eating dried beans, even after the expiration date, was safe. I wasn't sure. So I prayed and asked for an answer. And the first answer I literally got in my head was, well, in the famine that spread across Egypt and all of that area, Joseph had told Pharaoh to stock grains and beans and things because it was coming for the 7 years prior. So literally for 7 years, the people were coming to them and bartering and trading for rice and beans the entire 7 years. So if it was safe to eat the rice and beans then for 7 years, well, we've got vacuum sealing and packaging and so forth. It's got to be safe now, right? Especially since even if they're in plastic bags, unlike when you have water in plastic, plastic's not leaching into the beans. And you can always take them out and store them in another container. So, gotta be good. I really want to make sure and get some evidence from people who researched or tested this theory. And you can find all types of answers to this question online. And many of them aren't true because they tell you to throw them out. So just how long will dry beans remain edible in storage? Well, according to the Provident Prepper and Kylene, who is an expert in advising on emergency cooking food storage, dry beans will remain edible for 25 to 30 years. And the best quality is always achieved when the dry beans are fresh. But dry beans will gradually deteriorate over time, they say, from nutrition. So keeping them in oxygen-free packaging and in a cool storage environment significantly extends the life of dry beans. So, how would I normally store my beans? They're in Rubbermaid containers. I leave them in the bags or the containers they're in, and I put them in Rubbermaid containers so that they're away from the air, they're away from water, anything. And I store them on a shelf in the Rubbermaid containers. Some people like to take their beans out of the package and put them in glass jars, and they're pretty. That's fine if you're going to eat them within the next year, if you don't plan on saving them. If you plan on saving them, you need to put them in containers where they can be kept away from oxygen and water and other outside disturbances. I would love to make you a quick video on how to store dried goods and what kind of containers you can use. If you'd like to hear that, let me know in the comments below. Kylene says that her good friend Jersey asked the same question, that they've had beans 5 to 7 years and being told that they're impossible to eat and cook because they're so hard and no amount of cooking or pre-soaking will soften them. Well, I can tell you that's not true. I did a bag of beans that were 5 years old and I just added baking soda and they were fine and they were delicious. We started with an 18-year-old bag of pinto beans from her personal food storage. They were packaged in a number 10 can in December 2002. And she'd even taken them with her moving into new homes. So what you want to do is, when you take those beans out, as always, sort them. Look for broken beans or even for small rocks and rinse them. And then after she did that, they couldn't detect any type of odor after being rinsed. They were fine. And you can actually go to her channel. I'll put the link for you in the description so that you can go and check this article out for yourself. Then, as usual, the beans were pre-soaked, covered with water, and she only allowed them to soak for 4 hours. Normally, I soak them overnight, at least 8 hours. After that, she added 1 teaspoon of baking soda to the beans in each of the bowls. And it's not necessary, but yeah, it does help them to be softer. And it also helps to sanitize them. Now, another thing I want to add when I soak is I add 1 drop of grapefruit seed extract so that it kills any germs and bacteria that may be in the beans. So you can do that as well. She used 4 different methods to cook these beans to see how they would taste. The first was an instant pot. She covered them with 3 inches of water and the beans softened quickly. Then she used a stovetop pressure cooker, covering them with 3 inches of water. And it took 10 minutes and the beans were soft and ready to be seasoned. She also cooked them in a Dutch oven on a propane stove. Covered again with 3 inches of water, and in a few hours the beans were soft and ready to be turned into a delicious meal. And the last she used was a slow cooker, which is something I really want to try. The soaked beans were drained and covered with 3 inches of water. Olive oil was added to reduce foaming, and they were cooked on high for most of the day. And they softened up quite nicely, so I'm going to try that next. So you can take these beans and use them in your dishes. There's nothing wrong with that. The last thing I want to add is I have a lot of beans that are in bags that are beyond 5 and 7 years. Unfortunately, my mom passed. There were a lot of beans that had been saved, and I wasn't going to throw them away, so I put them in Rubbermaid containers and kept them. Recently, I took a 2-pound bag of northern white beans, and I soaked them overnight with the drop of grapefruit seed extract, and then rinsed them and cleaned them the next day. I took half that bag, which was 1 pound, and cooked them in a large pot, and they were delicious. And I made a Blue Zones recipe out of them, actually, a Blue Zones soup, and they were absolutely delicious. I put the baking soda in as well, along with the grapefruit seed extract, and they turned out fantastic. And fortunately, when I went through them, there were no small rocks, and I only found like 2 broken beans, so they were just fine. So what I'm going to say is to do this, try it and see what you think, but do it at your own education. And if you want, I advise check in with your doctor to make sure this is something you think is safe to do. But for me, my money's on these beans being safe to eat. I've tried it. They've been great. And there's no way I'm going to throw away dry food. The same with rice. Why throw away dried rice? Unless it has a smell or an odor when you open it, it's fine. Leave the items sealed in the original containers or bags. And if you have a vacuum sealer, you can take the bag and put it inside a vacuum sealer bag and seal it as well, and then place that in your storage container, ensuring that nothing gets to it, including air. So, do you like dry beans? Do you cook them often? Have you tried eating beans after the expiration date on the package, or even longer? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video has been helpful to you, be sure to like and share in your community tab, as well as your social media channels. I appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this, as well as my other helpful videos on faith, health, and beauty all year round. Thanks so much for watching. Continue to be happy, healthy, and whole. I appreciate you so much. See you next time.